time he doesn't have time, but there's some times when he does.
Yeah.
Sure, have time, and he doesn't have to do it alone.
Right.
There's plenty of people that are competent over there that can
Yeah.
help him.
Well,
Like you said, it doesn't need to be lying, and the county doing it for him.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think he
mean,
wanted to anyway.
he's had a couple like Cameron was this grant guy, you know, he lost Cam, and then I think one of these, I think one of the paramedics, I can't remember, that maybe leaving, was also quite really doing a lot of administrative work and stuff, so again, but, as far as I'm concerned, if we can give him the green light, say, let's get this thing going, but we gotta, can't just talk about it.
Yeah, even
No,
if they
you're
need
right.
somebody to, you
You're
know,
right.
like,
Yeah.
to come to and ask us for some money from the emergency services fund to hire a grant writer to get the planning grant done, you know, like keep.
Sure.
The hardest, and I know it's really difficult, but there are resources out there, and I just. The burden of this shouldn't fall 100% on Tyler.
Right,
No,
To get it done, it's just
and
unreasonable.
I do like that idea, if you have to, hire a grant writer. I mean, that's,
right,
I mean, Region 9 has,
yeah, they probably have technical grant writer, right?
yeah.
yep,
Sure.
Huh.
Beth Warren from who used to work for KSCT in Durango is doing grant writing for Archuleta County. And she mentioned that she still does grant writing, and if we ever needed somebody to write grants, she's happy to take a look at what we have.
What was her name?
Beth Warren, she used to be the
Oh, yeah.
executive director.
Fort Lewis, when we were at that deal.
Yeah.
She's a good lady.
That was when she.
Yeah.
But she
She knows
mentioned
what
that
she's doing.
if we ever needed some help with grant stuff, so there are folks out there, the Region 9 gal as well, I don't remember her name, Tiffany? Yeah. And it'd be interesting to talk to her, because she's only one person. It sounded like she was pretty underwater already,
But
inundated, but
She, I
She
mean,
might have the
she is
might know.
supposed to be doing the grant, but her focus is, you know, seeing what's out there and available, so if you
Yeah.
start talking to her, she'll,
yeah,
you know, she can beat the bushes and.
Right.
yeah,
Well,
And do it. She hasn't done anything for San Juan County for forever, so
yeah.
I think she
She,
would be
yeah,
anxious to
help us.
us out.
well, and you guys are right about, I think it's much easier to get grants for emergency services and.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much out there.
There's
that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're right about Colorado Star being willing to fund, you know, not just
Yeah.
walkie talkies or something, but, whole projects, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we have a source set aside for match money. That's pretty frequently
we're not-
difficult for us too, you know,
Yeah.
is to get the match money.
Yeah, we're not walking into it without any money.
No.
Yeah,
All right, now I'll give him a call.
Yeah.
So that's ambulance, and then, met with, Lisa Poole, I can't remember everything we talked about, but I definitely talked about bases built in secure rural schools on a summer population. I mentioned the autopsy, I know it's a small little thing.
she was blown away by that.
Yeah.
Frequently people are, you know, that
Yeah.
Jeff Sparhawk from Colorado Star had never thought of that either, and it's something that I've mentioned to quite a few.
Yeah.
People at the federal and state level.
I mentioned sheep, you know, I'd really like to see the rest of the sheep out of here someday. Definitely brought up Ice Lake, that was something she wasn't quite aware of, is how much pressure is on our federal lands, not only just out this way, you know, with motorized, but Ice Lake, Andrews Lake, Crater Lake, the Weminuche, you know, Chicago Basin. And the other, not only did we talk about that and that the fact that the backcountry is overwhelmed, but we just talked about, I said, look, BLM and Forest Service are underfunded. They can't get to, I mean, we've been talking since probably before you were a commissioner, we were talking about Ice Lake, you know, going through our registration system and stuff, but because of turnover and, I mean, we didn't even meet Nick for a long time. Just trying to get that thing going again and stuff, but they gotta be funded. I mean, I feel like their budgets have really been cut, and so. I mean, you think about the amount of territory that Forest Service is trying to cover and BLM's trying to cover. I mentioned, just, you know, backcountry rangers and stuff that kind of cover this huge area and stuff. So just kind of turned her on that. Talked a little bit about the Core Act, you know, that's probably gonna go, you know, there'll be a much bigger bill, and then maybe able to slide the core act in on a bigger bill, say in November or something like that. I'd really like to see that pass, the rest of it. And then just definitely thanked her for the congressional consideration of the Baker's Park through the appropriations. The other good thing is when we had that EPA open house, I ended up visiting with Nick Glidden for a long time about a lot of different issues, same type of issues and stuff, and just he was really candid about, hey, we can't get in then because we're underfunded. Maybe we would, even just things, it was just refreshing to hear, hey, they're still trying to work on their recreation. They haven't even finished that, but they don't have enough people to help with that. And he was very sympathetic as far as, the Forest Service being dominated by grazing, by logging and things. It's like that times have changed on some of this stuff. And it was just kind of refreshing to hear somebody talk about that. So, and he did talk to Willie. We definitely want to set up a meeting with him and just have all kinds of, just bombard him with questions for sure. But the whole time I had that conversation with him, Lee was there and was hearing, hey, we need funding. We don't have enough people to do all these projects and to watch, especially to just watch a public land. I did bring up to him too about the BLM and Forest Service getting their ducks in a row when we have fire danger. It's like, don't be at a stage one, and you guys haven't even declared stage one on BLM. So they got fire, they see people with campfires here, but not fires here. BLM and Forest Service have to be hand in hand on their declarations and stuff. So I did bring that up too. But it was really great having Lisa there at the same time we're having that conversation with Nick, because she could hear some of his worries about, and I felt bad for him. He's trying to, manage this, but with they're in a tough position. I mean, when you look at how much they're trying to manage, and they're not funding enough. So, and same with BLM. BLM's in that same. So I felt like we had a great conversation, and just the fact I said, go talk to Willie, set up an appointment. So we have we're trying to set up an appointment with him, but I think it's really necessary, and we definitely want to bring up many of those things, especially like Ice Lake and stuff like that. So
He sure seems a whole lot more approachable than we've had in the past.
he was good. Well, we didn't even know we just had like temporary Forest Service managers, and they're just trying to figure out how to do the job, but then they get moved to something else, so you don't have that continuity. Whereas I think with Nick, I'm hoping he's going to be here for a while. So I thought it was really productive. Yeah. So there's my commissioner reports. That was a busy week.
I also met with Lisa, talked about a couple other things.
Lisa,
Pool from who's taking Luke's
yeah.
And she's in Durango. I think we'll see a lot more of her, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about the Baker's Park thing already. But she went up there to see that. She was pretty excited to see that. We talked about I was telling her a little bit about the Mini Gulch trail connector up there too, and that we're supporting the youth's position on that trail connection up there, and that she may hear some things about it, but it shouldn't be from us, basically.
Well,
and that we've kind of set our piece on that, and we hope.
Because the Mini Gulch thing is kind of not gonna happen, is that correct? I mean, it's still up in the air.
I think it's up in the air, and I think it's kind of deadlocked on the youth's opposition to the trail.
That's what I thought.
That's what I expressed to her. And then a little bit of the issues that the backcountry hunters and anglers and the Great Old Broads had with both the Baker's Park and the Mini Gulch Trail, and that those should kind of be considered separately.
Which is a real good idea.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lump in Mini Gulch with that. They're entirely different. And remember we had that discussion as far as even just grants or anything like that being confused and stuff like that too. So I'm glad you made that point.
Yeah. And just, that same thing of the underfunding of the BLM and the Forest Service. Frequently, I feel like when air quality was another issue that I brought up. In the Dust Bowl.
Yes. Well, I did there at the very end, bring up climate change, just
Yeah.
saying, we have all this dust because of climate change, well, overuse and everything, but.
Yeah.
But, it is melting our snow a lot faster, so.
And we talked a little bit about like beetle kill and those kinds of things there, but I, kind of told her that I was hoping that working with the BLM and the Forest Service, that we had a better mitigation plan and things coming forth, in the future, but we were kind of just in the early stages of that. But frequently,
Anything would be better than what we have now.
frequently, I feel like, when I've talked to folks about, potential funding sources for, dust control and things like that, the PILT money came into that conversation, that, the PILT money isn't adequate enough for us to be able to maintain these roads and
Right.
maintain air quality. And that, something had to change, and that frequently the answer from our congressional reps has been, look at the BLM grants. And when we talked to our BLM and Forest Service folks, they said, look, you gotta understand that our budgets for recreation are super low, and that while there might be some of these opportunities out there, they should not be your first things to go look at, because they are highly competitive and not very well funded. So I brought up our friends from the EPA, who've now spent over $100 million, and will probably round out $120 million now, and have very much not contributed
I brought that up.
to the local economy, other than taking all of our short-term housing in the prime summer months.
I did bring up, the accountability for that 120 million. I said, we have never, ever got an answer of what's happened, what that 120 million was spent on. I mean, I know some of what it's been spent on, but, $120 million.
Yeah.
And they've always just hem and hawed anytime we bring that up. But I asked her, I says, I think your office should look at the accountability of the EPA and 120 million spent, so.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah. They should have some kind of line item or something
Something that says.
that makes them accountable.
Says this went to here, this went to here, this went to here, and I remember them making some excuses about, oh, well, we never quite know, the contractors bid on this, and we don't know where this went. It was a smoke screen, I think. I mean.
Yeah.
I think the taxpayer has a right to know, so.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I just also brought up, 88% federal land.
Yep.
We're responsible for funding the emergency services, the law enforcement, the funding of the access for the roads and all these things, and it would just, it's really tough as one of the most, economically disadvantaged counties to be responsible for funding all these services to public lands that we don't receive funding for,
Right.
and we don't receive property taxes for it, and we don't receive, much help from the federal government or the state
And I just went specifically and said, just saying, if we have a call in the backcountry, it's not just an hour running out and picking somebody up. And I talked about some of the searches and different things like that. I said, it's time consuming, it's dangerous, and it's underfunded. I mean, it's just.
a rollover accident and up
We've
near,
already had one.
up near past Mineral Point, I think. Not just our county's emergency resources, it was,
Yeah.
I think, 2 helicopters and entire emergency services response from both Uray and
Was
Silverton.
that just recently?
Real
2
recent.
days ago.
I did not know.
Yeah, and I think it was a death.
Was there?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that, we should talk about it, but I mean, I think that there was, just the response time out there, I'm sure was pretty far.
Yeah.
Was
it up on Engineer there, or?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Which is a long distance for either county to go to.
Yeah, the Uray folks had people on Red Mountain in the parking lot there, and a helicopter stage there. I saw Flight for Life, or Care Flight, I think it's Flight for Life, flying back and forth, and all of our emergency services folks leave to go out of town.
And I don't know if it was a rental or not. I didn't hear it. I think it was their own machine, but education on this thing. Not one of them was wearing their seatbelt. I mean, they're surrounded by a razor with all kinds of tubing ready for a rollover. Well, it doesn't do you any good if you don't strap it.
Well, yeah, because you're just.
Okay. I mean,
I wish
that
the education for those,
and unbelievable.
the rollover protection on those things is not meant for rolling over.
It really is.
Yeah, but
Because
at least strap in to where maybe that stuff can work.
I don't think we have to worry about it in our state. I don't think that our legislatures are trying to legalize these things on roads, but I really wish that some of our neighboring states would realize that.
Yeah.
Permitting these vehicles for highway use is not a great idea.
No,
They're not highway rated.
Yeah.
Vehicles.
They're
And they're not safe.
They're just
No.
not.
Correct.
I did see, coming into town a couple days ago, Can-Am, on this side of the Columbine Tavern, running down the road with red and blue lights going. And it's like, I don't think that's, well, I know it's not legal, but it was just somebody, I don't think there was any search and rescue involved that has a big old Can-Am, but right after I
The
pulled
fire
over.
department has one on that.
But it's a Polaris.
This thing was one of the giant ones, and he had rigged up
Oh,
like fake
He rigged up his
Yeah,
own
his
light.
own
fake lights, and I pulled off the road to follow a guy, see if I could get any kind of identification. 'Cause that impersonation like that really bothers me. But just as I went to pull off, here came the deputy just flying past me, just.
And got him.
I assume he did, I didn't go see the results, but that's such crap, and they pull other people over that are running red and blue lights like that, and
I don't think our law enforcement would take too kindly if they saw that.
No.
personating a police officer.
It's a felony.
Do you have some meetings?
Yeah, sword meeting, that group has, in my estimation, completed the majority of their assigned, duties. There's the need for representation for voting there, but I'm gonna try and speak with Heather, and I think that Becky and Dana Cranker and Amy Gardner, who are all employees of the health department, can be representatives there, and I'm gonna see what I can do to kind of step back from that a little bit, because I just don't feel that there's that much. I just don't feel that there's that much that's impacting San Juan County. We have such a small portion in that. The one thing that, they released some, or they are releasing some grant money. And I know that some of the folks from the health department were talking about, seeing if there's anything for San Juan County that we can approach to get some funding for there. And I'm just kind of want to have a discussion with you guys a little bit. I don't feel like we contribute such a small portion to that fund. I feel like if we're going to go for something for grant funding in that group, it needs to be really meaningful. I feel like there's huge, substance abuse problems going on in our neighboring counties, and we see it too, but not on the level. And I don't want to take away from meaningful initiatives in our neighboring counties. Unless we have something absolutely, that we think is an absolute winner. I'm sure. I don't want to do tobacco education style funding through this group and outreach. I think it needs to be much more meaningful than that in order to apply for that funding. Just because there's not a lot of money out there for this, and the only way that it works is if we kind of all pool our resources together. And I just don't want to see us. I don't want to see us taking away from somebody else's meaningful projects. And I haven't had that conversation, Dana or Becky, but I just kind of wanted to have that conversation with you guys and see how you felt about it. Because what is the money that we're given for the opioid settlement? We're talking about it's pennies. It's like it's hundreds of dollars. Yeah, it's a couple $100. So we're not trying to apply for $10,000 worth of funding for educational outreach. It's to me not really.
And like some of the tobacco funding is also dealing with substance abuse.
Sure.
And tobacco, so maybe that's being covered anyway. So.
And I understand if there's meaningful things, like if we want to have our emergency services, or at the school, funding Narcan, or treatment options for people, but, the reality is we're not gonna be treating substance abuse here, and we're not,
It's
it's
something.
gonna be outsourced
It's going
to our
down.
neighboring communities, and I don't step on toes in that way.
Okay.
And what else do we have? I didn't have a chance to get to our Sneffels Energy Board meeting, since I was watching my daughter, but the recording for that just came out, and I'll look through and make sure that we're doing okay, and then.
We had the countywide meeting. And we had one of
Didn't
those.
happen. It hasn't happened for the last 2 months now. I think everybody's just been too busy, and I texted out to, basically Ann Brown from San Miguel messaged out and asked if anybody was willing to have a meeting, and I was the only one that responded that I was, so. So we didn't have a meeting,
Okay.
but still, I think.
I just always thought that was productive.
I thought so too, and I guess I'm just gonna have to start reaching out individually to commissioners in the area to make sure that I'm still continuing to have those conversations on a one-on-one if we're not gonna have them in a group setting, because I've been really looking forward to hearing from Jonathan Houck as to how things are going in Gunnison for their
Especially with that loss.
for their lawsuit based for their bridge issues and construction issues at Blue Mesa. I feel like there's a lot of information to get from Jonathan, but he's a busy guy, so I'll try and see if I can catch him on the phone.
That's what was nice about those countywide meetings, is you kind of hear what was going on in every county, and then so your questions would be answered, So,
And it's only an hour.
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's an hour once a month. I felt like it was one of the more valuable meetings that we've ever
I
had.
thought it was really productive.
I'm hoping that we get back to it next month, but with summer coming, I'm
Yeah.
not holding my breath. Yeah, that's all I really had. Pete, do you have any?
I have some, but Mr. Drodo stepped in, so
Yeah, that's what
if I wouldn't give my time to him.
I said I wanted to shut up and let him go before.
Do you have something to talk about, Lou?
Oh, no, I'm just talking.
Oh, okay,
Doing.
all right.
I'm looking forward to most passes are getting open, the California belts now. There's still a little snow up there. They might have, it'll be open before.
Has Cat got up to your dozer
Should
for
be,
the marmot?
hopefully this
damage?
morning they gotta bring in the marmots, they are little dozer up pretty good.
Oh,
They replaced 3 wiring harnesses.
3 wiring harnesses.
They got them all, everything,
Oh, jeez.
not completely.
That's why when that movie came out, the cute little marmot,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I had no problem with that.
Yeah, they got it up on Sony, then you put it together and so got the wires back and got it back down to the bottom.
Right.
And we didn't want to use it because we don't know with that wiring.
It's reliable.
On that new equipment, takes one wire and it's dead.
Right.
So we brought it back down and hopefully we can get back up there in the week, and we had a culvert. Trying to wash the road pretty bad.
Up a stone,
Yeah.
yeah.
The switchback crosses over and you go over.
You need to-
Put a brand new culvert in there last year. But we don't know.
something just got hooked it and got that,
No, I think it just goes up.
is that culvert right before the switchback and it gets kind of steep right there?
Where you go up the steep switchback, it's on that side, the slide rock,
Yeah,
crossing there, you go
Yeah.
over that back there, the other side.
yeah.
They replaced all that last year.
wow,
Kind of washed out.
that's gonna be a big project, then, huh?
Yeah, there's not any material. We got it up enough last year, I don't think we get enough to try to get it passable. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Was
Over
that-
open almost to the top, but San Miguel, nothing doing anything to the end of the month at least.
over,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. They drag their feet on that every time, but,
Well, they have other priorities, they job.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about, that's the guy told me, I'm fine with that. But, guy at the Opus, they shoveled that one slide out, but you want to get it there.
yeah, you can get to the open side now, but yeah.
And everything else, we're hauling some gravel, but we had flat tires today.
Sure.
Trying to
There were anything more from San Miguel Sheriff about, Black Bear Pass?
Like, the road guy said they're gonna open it this year. You don't know when.
Huh. It's a big one whenever it melts.
He's talking about, well, you need to get that. Move that gate, put it up, down on their side of the top.
Hmm.
Just shut it down, so they can shut their side down and they can get to the top.
Right,
That other gate, the Forest Service put in a bad spot anyway.
right. Once you jump over the hill, it's a commitment anyway.
Put it there and you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to.
Oh, where the one is now, it's just easy to get around, is that what it is?
They moved it twice, so they put it in and they started going around it, and then they put it up there where nobody can go around it. Then we'll get it closed or hardly ever, they starts, it snows before they can get there and close it.
Huh.
Now, combination of nothing to it, those services. And they tear it out and put it in up there, just put all the gate up there, that's what they need to do.
Right.
That would save a lot for everybody. Black Bear, who cares? I don't care, so.
Yeah,
That's it. It is the county sheriff over there.
and you get to come out to that, and you like that loader.
Yeah. If we get one, we can recommend that for the prize. Did you guys get the bid on it?
Well, I've got the number, I haven't,
Yeah.
I've got to put I figured probably,
It's 100,000 less than the,
it was considerably less than cat.
decent.
It was like, yeah.
We ran, I took it up Minnie and Maggie and
You tested it pretty good.
Did that quote include the attachment, the bucket?
blade, 12-foot blade.
Yeah.
It's like the Volvo.
Yeah,
It's cheap, this one's a lot better machine than the Volvo.
And they didn't charge you freight
No, we had to pay for the trucking back for the Volvo.
for the Volvo and not for the Komatsu.
No, they came.
Nice one to point that out to the board here. Yeah, I mean, and you still don't have your trailer from
It's- it's-
from.
I called them and I told them, you got trailers and here, we can cancel the order. We're doing trailer.
I don't know.
And I got a call from the factory about 10 minutes later. You know, we'll have it by end of May or part of June, and so.
There it is.
And here we are, yeah,
And call the day and say, hey,
I don't know.
right.
shouldn't be that hard to make a trailer. like we've been-
Well, your trailer's holding up to this, you don't really feel like comfortable putting it on the highway.
Well, if we got caught down on the highway,
You'd be
it'd be
taking,
thousands of dollars.
yeah, exactly.
Got to describe a CDL and you can't take it out.
Right.
Even on the county roads.
Right,
So we just go back and shop it and.
our equipment company,
It was always, build the deck, with the wheels and the brake part of it, they're in good shape.
right,
the water truck that came back into town, didn't
Well,
it?
Yeah, they came back from CAT and.
Did she fix it?
Mission and put the gear back in, and I'm gonna change it, file PTO. It's good now, when they fixed it, the town's using it, we use it. It, water, it seems to be working. You know, work all the bugs out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. The water tank and all the other part of it, it's pretty cheap.
That's the disappointing part of
The
it.
county's gonna have some issues. The truck seems to be all right. You know, it's a little underpowered for, well, you got 4,000 gallon water tank on there.
Yeah.
It'll do all right, but I'm not sure how it's gonna feel. We're gonna go test it out, see how it's gonna draft,
How fast it'll fill,
feel itself.
and, yeah. You get a fill gauge, did you get one?
No, they put
Yeah.
a yellow light on it.
Okay,
The town
Get that
pretty
one.
much put a gauge or a bill tube on it.
all right,
They're using the water truck and then they're gonna pay our yellow stripes and stuff for us.
okay.
Swap, so we think. Oh, well, you guys have
No,
any questions?
well, we did make a motion not to accept your resignation, so, we figured you work another 50 years.
Right, you're gonna be, your remaining until the 30th, and then you're done, right?
Yeah, I may do some,
Private consulting?
yeah, on somebody done on the road, on certain road, I'll go do it. After the thing with Dave.
Yeah, understood.
Figured I'm gonna go.
Yeah, understood.
This is just a question that, you know, we eventually have to find a new overseer. Are you gonna be willing to go over the job with that overseer and all his duties and stuff like that, or is he just gonna walk into it without?
Yeah,
And, I mean, I think it would be a good idea where you could, I don't know about mentor, but at least, give him or her a heads up. As to all your different responsibilities and all the different things, and with this much experience, there's a lot of things to share, so.
well, you guys wanna go, the rest of you. These kids are not.
You think rest you get handle being the boss?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, to discuss that, we probably shouldn't discuss that here.
No, I can say we've discussed multiple times for you and Dave and Mike that if there was need to have you guys come back and use consulting, we're happy to make that work in the budget to make sure that you guys.
I think it'd be a good idea.
It'd be great to have,
Oh, yeah.
your help open spring roads with these difficult situations, we're happy to
Yeah.
compensate you for
Matthew's
for
pitching on the track for the
being
world.
willing to help, so.
Mike seems to be a really good guy, really.
You like him? Yeah.
And Rusty, he's working at G in California and stuff, man.
Louis, have you had a chance to put a closure down here on the river road?
No,
Not yet.
you guys want to still do that?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Yeah, okay.
Oh, guys, hi, it's Sally. I know you're not taking public comment, but that's what I'm here to comment about.
Is
the
River
road.
Road,
Yeah.
I-
So I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I'm gonna hang up if you're gonna go ahead and take care of that this year.
I'd be willing to listen to Sally, even though we closed public comment, I'd still be, can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, I do.
Yeah, we'll get.
I sure, Sally, if you have just a quick comment on it, we can take that.
All I want to do is advocate that we put that constriction back on the river road this year. I think it really helps and it's awesome. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thanks, Sally.
Thank you guys, and Louis, appreciate your service, and all of you guys. Thanks for being there.
Thank you.
Again,
And do you want me to tell you how we arrived at that decision a long time ago?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we did put together a group of all users from ATV to Jeep to fishermen to hikers to dog walkers, and that was the solution that came up, was put in a barrier so that people couldn't just zoom through on the road, but they did have access from both sides. And that seemed to be a good compromise for everybody, and because it wasn't just a decision made by hikers or something like that. We involved everybody I could think of that had some kind of interest in that river road. That I felt like that was a good compromise. It wasn't my idea. It was Betty Chavez, the one who suggested putting a barrier right in the middle of it.
Actually, that was my idea.
Oh, it was. Oh, I thought it was Betty. I thought it was Betty Chavez. Oh,
Who's your
Okay.
I actually said it was
I
bad.
still think it's.
I thought it was a bad idea, but it was an attempt at compromise.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will say that I think there have been a lot of people who've come and commented to me how much they appreciated having that there. I will say there's a little bit of confusion about it because I've had some people say that they really thought we should kick everybody camping on that lower river road out as well, and I had to tell people that was not part of the
The only way you do that is put gates on both ends of it.
Yeah, and
It
well,
has to-
we put things there that say, you know, don't take your RV trailer down here because you won't have anywhere to
Still
put it
not,
down.
motor's making non-motor.
Yeah, right, but,
The motorcycle is going through there, all I ask.
yeah. And I don't think there's any way to, well, it would take gates to do that, and I really do feel like if that's something that we wanna continue to do. We should probably gate it instead of putting boulders there.
But, yeah,
No,
we did,
Yeah,
I mean, I think originally that was the plan, was a gate.
Yep.
But at that time, we didn't have the funding source to do it, so Louis did the boulders as a.
yeah,
As a temporary measure, but yeah, that's, we should get back to.
yeah,
And I mean, it would be much easier for them
We always have to add double gate, we've got to accommodate the.
to close the gates in
Yeah.
the spring and open them up in the, you know, in the winter, so that.
yeah,
it had
It's
to be a
been
big,
ongoing, you know, the.
yeah. I think the gate would better service emergency access through there too,
Yeah.
than the boulders. I don't think that's great
that's a good idea.
for we do have commercial rafting trips going through there now.
Yeah.
And Swiftwater Rescue, we've had a death on that river where that
Kayakers on there,
would
right?
have, you know, from a motor vehicle accident in there, that would have, those boulders would have probably hindered emergency operations there. And so I think if we're gonna have something there, we should, if we're gonna continue doing this, I think we should just have a gate there. It just makes more sense.
So put the boulders now, but plan for a gate.
Oh, we can take. You know, that skid steer and get an auger or a backhoe.
Oh, you could do it pretty quick, okay.
On the steel pipe. It's pretty easy. It's
Just like one of those,
just,
one of those string gates, okay.
No, it'd be if you can, you know.
Orders and headquarters, huh?
Yeah.
I just, and we also had, so we had the initial meeting where we came up with this idea, and then when we had a follow-up meeting a year later, we basically didn't have any public comment that said that anybody didn't agree with that afterwards, so. Even though. I mean, I'm just gonna say, personally, for the emergency access of kayaking through there in the spring, that to me has been great that it's been open this year. I can have, you know. I've had my wife be able to drive next to us, and it actually already, you know, saved one person once to have, you know, one person swim and be able to get into a car and get warm again, helps prevent, you know, them from, you know, having to walk bloody and cold back up to the.
Austin, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Could it just come in after the issue of busyness on the road doesn't happen during kayaking season? So if the boulders could constrict post, you know, June 15th or June 30th, but the busiest times is like in July, you know?
Yeah, no, I
Cause
completely agree.
I do know
I
what you
think, I
mean.
think just having a gate and, you know, if that's. I think a gate would be a much better.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
must have to worry about the homeowners, make sure they get accommodated.
Yeah, well, the gates on their side of
Right.
of their, it's, they use their raster access, so. They're some of the main.
Yeah.
Proponents of having.
I'm talking about the other side. There's some
You're
stuff
talking
getting
about
ready to be built. Now, there's gonna be stuff being built on the other side,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
the turbines. And
Oh,
that's what- yeah.
we're next to the big Brendel slide there. Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking about?
yeah. Mhm.
But
yeah,
but the.
You know, what I'm talking about, Willie?
but the closure's further down.
The closure would be
The
past that.
birdings.
Yeah, the closure's past
So
that.
they would be going out to Howardsville and.
Oh, hold your bee in from that?
Yeah, the closure.
Where's that? in the box at?
It's like about halfway
Oh,
in
okay.
from
And then it
either.
wouldn't affect homeowners at all?
Just upstream from that big rapid,
Okay.
the big rock in the river. Yeah, and hopefully it wouldn't, impact folks, and I hate to say it, but a lot of the money, if we're gonna go for grant money, that might help us pave the road. We may have to examine doing walking paths and trails and stuff like that anyway, and that may bring this conversation back to motorized, non-motorized for that lower river road, but. I think, yeah, right now, I think the people have spoken that they like the closure down there.
Yeah, and with the gate, it's simple to set a date, you know, we'll close it
Absolutely,
at this
yeah.
point, open at this point.
So it's different for
You don't have to
winter
worry
and summer
about,
and everything.
You know, when Louis can get a piece of equipment down there.
It has, I think we discussed this, it has to be kind of a long gate so that, the post is here that the groomer can fit past that when there's room in the winter time.
Yeah, for sure.
If I have to put a double.
Yeah.
Oh, like this.
20 feet,
Okay,
Yeah.
18 feet minimum, so
okay,
Yeah.
I have to put a double gate to post.
okay.
Rest is good at that stuff.
I'm definitely for that.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea.
Do we need to examine like cost proposals or budgeting for gates for getting that done potentially this year?
I don't think it's gonna be very much.
Okay.
Do we just, I would say we direct Louis to go ahead and, start on a gate and, does he work for you anymore?
Yeah.
Hey, does he?
We're gonna give him a list of projects he needs to accomplish.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a little punch list.
Projects
Yeah,
that you have
volume.
played in the next
Right.
2 weeks.
Little punch list.
Well, since
No, it was there.
Cause my legs are better, my legs better.
It is getting better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can run a little bit, but.
The day you wrote that letter, did it improve?
Might have felt a little better.
Thought I was hard. 48 years.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Still like, I'll say, better in the morning. Pointing that way,
Yeah.
would be an adjustment. I can always change my mind, right?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
That's
Good
that's
before
when
the
you came
20th.
in here, that's what you're gonna tell us, is you
Yeah.
change your mind.
Yeah, see, the economy.
We just certainly appreciate the
Yeah,
Yeah.
effort that you put in.
More than that, whatever.
all those years, that's all that institutional knowledge.
I'd stay.
Thank you so much, Louis. Bye, guys.
Bye.
What's that?
You give it ATV, I'll say.
That's the only stipulation?
It's good. It's an idea. Yeah, it's been nice. A lot of changes, a lot of fun over the years. Yeah. How things change.
A lot of changes in use on your, especially the back roads and so, well, on your main roads too. Just a lot of change, different type of vehicles, more people. It's just harder to
You know,
maintain.
start. Madness is starting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Somebody went up Placer Gulch. Went over the snowfield up there, and I guess they go balls and they slide and stuff up there.
That's-
The audience aware of that. They might sit on it, bad or something or something. That's what
It
they
is.
just told me yesterday. They drove up there.
There's always some bad apples in there.
Yeah, they were spun for a reason. And they all.
God, you should be right there with the sheriff and catch him.
Sheriff's got that.
Make an
ground,
example of 'em.
They could just still park up on Picky and then just
Yeah.
fly around the whole valley.
I caught a guy in Pickett.
Blue and red lights.
Doing that one time, and I'm sure he went back and told everybody a week about the crazy man he ran into up in Pickett and Gulch. I went to listen, he was racing up a snowfield doing donuts in the tundra and then racing down the snowfield, and I was up high and I remember James Bissey says, I saw you just take off on a trot for some reason, and then he says, I looked down and goes, oh my God, and then I really let the guy have it, and then I was this close to decking him, so I did knock his hat off his head.
Maybe don't admit that on social media.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
There's
That was-
triangles
That
out.
was before I was the commissioner.
Yeah, the triangles out.
Do I have that in the executive session to talk about the?
Yep. We're
We're just ready to do that.
ready to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, I'm ready for that.
Sure. Can I borrow your agenda?
Yeah. My
I'm
computer,
gonna
I
catch that one. Yeah.
think it's the very last thing. on it.
Yeah, what?
All the hours.
Where to go?
Hours, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Right,
the executive session would be for the purpose of discussing personnel matters pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024. Small f, Roman numeral 1, and then the reporting will need to be maintained for 90 days.
You
need a motion from that.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pete, you got a handle on that recorder yet?
You turn it off?
We gotta
turn it off and then turn it back
restart
on?
Yeah, yeah.
Mike.
Willie, do you wanna help